Begin by whisking 1 large egg, about 50 grams, with 300 grams of water. Add 450 grams of bread flour, (15 grams of cocoa powder, and 20 to 25 grams of brown sugar. Mix well. Cover the dough and let it rest for 1 to 2 hours, or up to 12 hours in temperatures below 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The goal of this step is to build elasticity in the dough. It should be stretchy and pass a window pane test. Now add 100 grams of active starter and 7 grams of salt. There is no set method to incorporating these ingredients. Just be sure to mix them in fully and completely. Cover the dough and let it rest for 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, we will laminate our mix-ins. This step will not only provide strength to the dough, but will allow for a more gentle shape later on. Spray your working surface lightly with water. The dough will still be sticky at this point. Stretch your dough out as far as you can get it to go, until you have a large, thin rectangle. Now, layer on some chocolate chips and freeze-dried strawberries. Fold the dough into thirds, adding some more mix-ins if desired. Roll it up, then cover again and let it rest for another 45 minutes. Now it is time to begin the folding process to continue adding strength to the dough. For this recipe, we will only do 3 sets of folds. You can choose to do stretch and folds or coil folds depending on your preference. I find stretch and folds to be easier since I incorporated the chocolate and the strawberries. Coil folds would be easier if I had not incorporated any mix-ins into the dough. Between each set of folds, cover the dough again and let it rest for another 45 minutes. After the last set of folds, leave the dough in a nice round and allow it to rest until it has doubled in size. In total, there are about 9.5 hours from the time I add the starter to the time I shape the dough. I keep the dough in my proofer set to 75 degrees Fahrenheit through folds and all, letting it rest around 6 to 7 more hours after all folds are complete. The total time it takes for the dough to double in size could be anywhere from 5 to 12 hours, depending on temperature. Here's what my dough looked like at the end of bulk fermentation, right before shaping. Rice flour, or any gluten-free flour, is the key to keeping your loaves from sticking in the banneton. Only a light dusting is needed. Be sure to rub it in well. Turn your dough out onto a clean or lightly floured counter. For this recipe, I am skipping the pre-shape and only doing one gentle shape. Fold the left and right sides into the middle. Next, fold the top half to the middle, then follow by folding the bottom half all the way over. Last, use your hands to push and tuck the dough in order to complete the round. This step will also tighten the surface of the dough, helping it keep a nice shape and providing you with a beautiful oven spring. Transfer the loaf to your banneton. At this point, you can stick the loaf directly into the refrigerator or stitch up the bottom, as I am doing here, to further tighten the outside and clean up the bottom. To do this, simply bring all the edges of the round toward the middle. Cover your bowl with a plastic bag and transfer to the refrigerator overnight. The next morning, preheat your oven and Dutch oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. The baking stone underneath helps prevent the bottom of my loaf from burning. Remove your dough from the fridge and transfer it to parchment paper or a silicone bread mat. Score the loaf 1/4 to a 1/2 inch deep, keeping your razor parallel with the counter. Add the loaf to your hot Dutch oven. Optionally, spray with a little bit of water to provide extra steam. Bake for 25 minutes with the lid on. This next part is optional and is called a 5-minute score. Score the loaf one more time along where it is expanding, 5 minutes into baking. You do not have to remove the loaf from the Dutch oven if you can score it without burning yourself. Return the lid and spray with extra water if desired. Then continue baking for the remaining 20 minutes. After 25 minutes, remove the lid and bake for 20 more minutes, for a total of 45 minutes of baking time. The internal temperature should register 200 degrees Fahrenheit when the loaf is finished baking. cool for at least 30 minutes before slicing. And there you have it, double chocolate sourdough country bread with strawberries. This one is delicious on its own, or for the chocolate lovers, even better with a spread of Nutella. Enjoy! Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more.